Hey, it's Austin. This is a deeper dive into the next step of my workflow for Ashes, editing. After generating all the images and video clips for an episode, it was time to assemble them into a finished story. Up until this point, I'd just been creating assets. Editing is where those assets finally became an episode. One lesson I learned is that editing gives you a ton of control over your project. When I started, I thought every image and video needed to come out almost perfect. Now I know I only need an asset that's 80% of the way there. Editing is what gets it across the finish line. Knowing what you need to generate versus what you can leave for editing takes a ton of pressure off the production process and saves you the time and expense of constantly generating new assets. Now, there are plenty of free editing programs out there. The ones I use most are DaVinci and CapCut. It doesn't really matter which program you use, each one has pros and cons, but they all give you the same core abilities to assemble and modify your assets. Those abilities include trimming clips, reframing them, adding simple camera moves, adjusting timing, color grading, adding effects, transitions, voiceover, music, and capturing keyframes if you need to regenerate any assets. Rather than explain all of those individually, here's an example of how editing turned a mediocre video clip into one that I used in the final cut of episode 3. Here's the raw clip. It's supposed to be shot from behind Rudy as he skateboards down the road and the caterpillar crawls over his backpack. But there are two problems. First, Ruby isn't moving, nor is the sky in the background, so it doesn't look like he's skateboarding. Second, the shot is framed around Rudy's upper body rather than the caterpillar. Using my editing program, I was able to reframe the image to take the focus off the static background and shift it to the caterpillar. Then, I added a simple zoom effect so the clip slowly pushes in on the caterpillar. Now we're not looking at or thinking about the sky. Our focus is where it should be, which is on the caterpillar. Still, Rudy's supposed to be skateboarding, so you'd expect him to be moving in some way. The final step I took was adding a camera shake effect that gave the illusion that Rudy was moving down the road. None of those improvements required another AI generation. They were done in the edit. Once you understand what you can fix in post, you spend less time chasing perfect shots and more time finishing your story. From there, I repeated the process across the entire episode, using editing to solve problems, improve shots, and shape the pacing until I had a rough cut that felt the way I wanted. Once I had that, there was only one step left: sound design, which I'll talk more about next time.